Hello. I thought for today's deck tech, I'd put on an accent. So for today, your old pal Atma's from Melbourne, and we're going to be casting some humans and some Eldrazi. I've got a theory that the accent, that's what's missing from my deck techs. See guys like Legend VD, he's from Germany or whatever. Obviously, people like the sound of his voice. So I'm going to get my kangaroos, my shrimp on the barbie, my Foster's beer, and play some magic. Nope. Gonna have my usual crappy nerd voice that everybody hates. And I'll get my 200 views out of the way. Atma here. Playing some magic duels. I've done a video of HumanDrazi before, but this time I did it when I first woke up instead of right before I went to bed. And this time I did it with my made deck tech, which you can find over on Reddit, the subreddit Magic Duels. I made this deck because I made mono white humans and it was pretty damn good, but it lost to the board sweeper. You just play out a bunch of humans, they play in a Outburst or Languish, then they play a Planeswalker and you just lose the game. Well, this added a couple ways to fight that, and incidentally, it also occasionally lost to opposing aggro decks. I'm not sure why, but now it doesn't. I'm actually, well, in the deck tech, I was 11-0 with this deck against aggro, but since then I've actually moved that up to 13-0 against aggro. So for whatever reason, this is pretty excellent against aggro. I have a theory that always watching is a big deal. Reflector Mage breaks and Eldrazi Displacer break up the infectious bloodlust thing that red likes to do, and Lantern Scout gains a bunch of life. But basically, we'll just talk about the creatures in order. So we got Kytheon. I mean, it's just an alternate Gideon. Usually you just want the 2/1 indestructible side, but occasionally you get this Planeswalker. It's just an early drop. This deck actually has less early drops than the last mono white deck. I mean, this isn't even mono white, but the last humans deck. I took out a bunch of the 1-drops because this is much more of a mid-range deck. I would classify it as mid-range. This is just an ally, a 1-drop ally. It occasionally will give us a little bit faster start, but I mean, you could put almost anything, just another 2-drop in here or something if you want. Hanweir Militia Captain. This doesn't get turned on as easily as it did in the other mono white humans deck, or just the traditional ones you see, because it doesn't have as many 1-drops. But if you happen to get a bunch of stuff on board, it does become a giant thing whose power and toughness is equal to the amount of creatures you control, and it's just one of the many 2-drops. Well, I'll get back to that later. Knight of the White Orchid. When you play it and you can search for a plains, you can search for a Prairie stream, which is white-blue, and that gives you access to your blue mana. Consul's Lieutenant, of course, is the best 2-drop ever. It's ridiculous. It costs white for first strike with the Renown, pumps all your other guys when it has Renown. This is usually what you want to play on turn 2. Occasionally I'll bait a removal with something else like Topan Freeblade, but generally you want the Consul's Lieutenant on turn 2. Topan Freeblade, we've been dealing with this since this game came out. Amazing card. It's a reason to be white. It's just a common, great 2/2. It's usually a 3/3 vigilance for 2, which is just an insane rate. Like I was saying before, Lantern Scout, it gives lifelink to all your guys. We don't have a ton of allies, but like this is just for aggro. You usually only need 1 trigger of this for it to matter. You don't need to get to 100 life. You just need to gain like 4 or 5 life one time, or 3 life even sometimes. Going back to Thalia's Lieutenant, this is again not as good as it is in just mono humans, but we do have a lot of humans. It pumps all the humans. Making Reflector Mage into a 3/4 ain't bad either. And when you play other humans, this gets a counter. So this gets pretty big, depending on which order you play it in. And that all depends on what your hand's like. Reflector Mage, yeah, you guys know about this. This is just, it's the best non-rare. Thing is amazing. They can't play a creature after you bounce it with the same name. And you can abuse that with Eldrazi Displacer, which is one of the reasons we have colorless mana in this deck. You just, you bounce your own Reflector Mage, bounce their things, or you flicker it. And you can do a lot of things with Eldrazi Displacer. You can flicker Avacyn to give all your guys indestructible all of a sudden. You can flicker Thalia's Lieutenant to keep pumping all your humans. You can flicker itself, even though it says another target creature, the game's broken, which makes this particular creature broken. You can protect itself if you want to cheat a little bit, and everybody does. So it's like the steroid era in baseball, you just do it because, like, you just lose if you let other people do it. But sometimes I won't do it because I'm not an asshole. I don't like being abused. Removal, there's one Reprisal for a rainy day in case you need to get one big thing. The deck's fast enough to where one big thing is hopefully all you need to deal with. If you ever have to deal with more than one big thing, then you're going to be up against it, but there's Declaration in Stone for that situation. Although Declaration in Stone sometimes is just getting things out of the way early. Spatial Contortion I actually just recently added to this deck. It was not in the last video. I don't actually remember what was in the last video now that I think about it, but Spatial Contortion is a good card, man. Like, it kills 3 toughness things, and it occasionally will pump your Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher in particular into being gigantic against no blocks. So sometimes it's just a pump spell plus 3 when there's no blocks. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Gideon and Archangel Avacyn. I mean, you know what these things do. They take over the game. I mean, Gideon takes over the game. Avacyn makes them quit the game if you have any amount of board state to save. You usually don't want her to ever flip because it kills all our stuff, usually. But sometimes you do. If you want to kill all their stuff and our stuff and be left with a 6/5, that's fine. Thought-Knot Seer is one of the main reasons that I put colorless mana in this deck, besides Eldrazi Displacer, which was the main reason, but this is a secondary reason, which is you aggro out, you play 1-drop, maybe 2-drop, 3-drop usually, or 2-drop, 2-drop, or whatever you do. And then you hopefully have your colorless mana on turn 4. You look at their hand, you see they have a Planar Outburst in hand, you take that shit out of their hand, and you go to town. By go to town, I mean not lose the game to that Planar Outburst on the spot, which was a problem for mono white. Reality Smasher is like just another great giant colorless thing. Trample and Haste. If they play a Planeswalker after board wiping you, you get to just do 5 damage to that Planeswalker. That usually kills it, unless it's Sorin, which is a pretty big problem. But I would still do 5 damage to a 7 loyalty Sorin rather than do no damage. So it's a good card. All those cards are even better if you have +1/+1 in Vigilance. 6/6 Reality Smasher is even better, suffice it to say. Making all the humans a little bit bigger is just the basic part of White Weenie strategy, and this is like White Weenie with some mid-range cards in it. Mono base, I mean, it's a lot of planes because it's basically mono white, but it's not because it splashes a little bit of blue, and there's, Evolving Wilds. You only need one source of these other things, so that's why there's only one island and one waste, and then Prairie Stream is fetchable by Knight of the White Orchid, and honestly, Westvale Abbey, like, it's pretty hard to actually get 5 creatures on board, but sometimes you do. The threat of turning it into an Ormondal is not nothing. I've done it before, and it's a colorless mana source that just does something else. And in this game, you can't have perfect mana, so that's what's been done here. Put Foundry of the Consuls in here because it makes colorless mana, but it occasionally makes 2 colorless flying Thopters, which can contribute to flipping an Ormondal or whatever. And Crumbling Vestige is really just insurance in the early game. I needed a couple more colorless sources, but in the early game you need double white a lot, so there's some flexibility with Crumbling Vestige. It's really not that bad of a card. It comes in taps, but it creates mana right away, so you usually want to use this early. And that's the deck. I'm going to try some games and see what we can do with our kangaroo. It rhymed. As I said in the deck tech, like the last time I started tracking games in the last meta, I had a deck that was 43-7, and this is like my best deck right now, and it's 19-6. So the meta's diversity is quite wide now, and even though Planeswalkers are the prominent menace, you still, you know, get checks and balances from a lot of other things. Out of 375 games, I only faced 4 or 5 color Planeswalkers, like, I think it was 27 times, and that's not really that many. I played against 3 color Planeswalkers some amount more times than that. So it's still fairly prominent. I would say Planeswalker-based decks, board wipes and Planeswalker decks, I probably saw that a good 50 times. Maybe even 60 times out of 375 games tracked. And, yeah, I mean, that is what we're trying to beat usually. But this deck doesn't actually consistently beat it, because that deck is very good. But it has some tools that aggro doesn't usually have that helps it out. And in this particular game, although his icon looks like he has green, he may just have white. His background piece is green, which makes me think there'd be green, but you never know. There's green. So green-white humans is a good version of humans. It's the same as our deck, except it's faster. He left that guy back. That's interesting. I think the best play here is probably to bounce this Knight of the White Orchid and try and trade our Topan Freeblade since we have another one with his rare. If he lets us make a Topan Freeblade a 3/3, then it'll outclass that 2/2 first strike anyway. Yeah, I would have blocked if I was him, so that's probably pretty smart. Aggro is one of the big foils to mono white humans, because it just didn't have enough ways to stop their things for whatever reason. This is a weird choice for green white humans since it's an elf and they don't really need it, so it makes me wonder what else he's playing besides these humans. He may have something creative. He may even have Eldrazi like us. Nope. So we're hoping to get a land here because we really want to see what he's working with over there. Did not get it. So the plan here is hopefully he'll just chump block, but I doubt it. And then we're going to play this Freeblade. And then we're going to try and Reflector Mage whatever he plays next. He may play 2 things, which would be crappy. He may also board wipe, because I feel like playing just Sylvan Ranger is a pretty sandbaggy type of play. But we got plenty of stuff. If he board wipes, he'll be at 5 cards and we'll be at 5 cards. That's not the end of the world. Alright, gets his White Orchid back. Hopefully he won't play another thing. If he does play another thing, I'm going to really want to play Thought-Knot Seer so he can see what else is in his hand. Deck and Stone. That'll hit the Topan. Oh, he doesn't get it. Interesting. I guess he didn't want me to attack profitably. I think I want to Thought-Knot Seer, because if we get a land next turn, I can play a guy and Reflector Mage, which is better. Then Hanweir Militia Captain will be pretty threatening. I could also just play Reflector Mage and crack that clue. Alright, we got a Valor and Akros, which is going to be a cornerstone of his deck, but he's got no action going on. A couple of lands. Oh, that was a pretty good draw for him. He drew a land. So he's on the bad side of land right now, which is good for us. Reality Smasher is good. How do we maximize Reality Smasher? I think the best thing to do here is I think the best thing to do would be to Reflector Mage this Orchid again, and then offer up the trade for Freeblade and Thought-Knot Seer. Because we got plenty of backup stuff. Our hand versus his 2 land right now is pretty threatening. Pretty sure he'll double block because he's shown a particular disdain for my Topan Freeblade. With good reason. But I'm not too worried about it. Let's see what he drew here. He may have drawn an Avacyn for all we know. I think against an Avacyn, well, I mean, he'd have to have a rare exactly. I think I'm going to not play this Reality Smasher. I think I'm going to play Lantern Scout and then see if he actually has something. So next round he's almost dead no matter what. Board wipe would be pretty good for him. Two blockers. Yep. Knight. We will smash Reality. Rather save Deck and Stone for something that is more threatening. We'll lose one guy here, but he'll probably just quit because he just has a land, I'm sure. Because he blocks, takes 8, takes 7. Okay, so he takes 7. Nope, he's blocking Reality Smasher stupidly, so yeah, he lost if this is the way he blocks. So green-white humans is decent. I don't like that Valor and Akros. It's a little too slow. I've made decks with it, and it goes off sometimes, but not often enough. It's too expensive. I do find that green-white humans is on average the worst humans deck. Well, I guess besides blue or white-black. White-black humans is probably the worst. Blue-white humans is the best. Mono-white or red-white is second best. White-green is probably third best. Somewhere in there. Or fourth best, I guess you could
All
say.
right. I had to do some editing on this
I
video.
thought it was a lot better in the beginning than it is.
There was
actually.
some games where it went to like turn 2 and the guy left, and I didn't want to play against the computer. So I'm just cutting out all of those games where the queues went on too long or whatever, you know. I even had a game where there was multiple games. There was 3 games in a row where I just had to cut them all out. One, a guy conceded. One, I conceded because I couldn't play cards. Like, it was like stuck. I kept trying to play it and it wouldn't. So I just conceded because I wanted to make this video. Anyway, all that talking I did in all that time. Anyway, let's see if I can reset and back on track. So, where was I? I don't even remember. Consul's Lieutenant, good card. This deck's like in the deck tech I said that this is able to fight against control. It's actually not that great against control. It just has some answers. Like, I don't want to make it seem like this is just the end-all be-all. Like, you play this and the 4 and 5 color Planeswalker deck is not an issue anymore, because that is not the case. That deck is always going to be an issue, but instead of just playing out human, like our hand is now, sometimes you get Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher, and you get to do something else. And speaking of 4 and 5 color Planeswalker decks, this is it. And I'm not playing anything else because he's going to board wipe us, right? Like, you guys know how this works. You know, we'll attack with these things, and then he'll play like an untapped swamp, and he'll languish. And then he'll play a Planeswalker. And that's how you lose these games. So we're going to try and win with these 2 guys, since we've already played them. So this is probably an Assured Languish. This is the untapped swamp. Oh, Nahiri. Okay. Yep. I really dislike the 4 and 5 color Planeswalker decks. They're just, I have one because they're good. And I don't mind playing them because it's fun to play a lot of Planeswalkers. But I hate them because, you know, it's like the flavor. You know, everybody likes playing this stupid deck. Because it's not fair, mainly. I'm afraid to play 2 things. I'm gonna just play Topan Freeblade. See, the thing about Planeswalkers and board wipes that's so good is that you have to play more than one creature to fight against things like Nahiri, because she killed one of our creatures. Had we only played one creature, then we'd have no creatures, and she'd be plussing this turn. We'd not win. So you have to kind of overextend. And if you overextend, then they board wipe you. But if you don't play enough creatures, then the Planeswalkers kill you. So you have to find a happy medium. Oh, and that was an excellent draw. The amount I want him to not counter this is higher than anything in the history of mankind. Because we have to play this. We just have to. Oh, ooh. 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 It's a draw spell. Okay. So, I can't see if he has double red from here. This is terrible. I think we take this, because if he has to -4 Chandra to kill Thought-Knot Seer, then that's fine. So already we face down a board wipe and 3 Planeswalkers. Will he -4, folks? Can he -4? Sure did. Because he has Gideon. And he gets to draw a card. To fight Gideon, we're going to have to play both of these things. In fact, we're going to play Thalia's Lieutenant, and then Topan Freeblade, and then Reflector Mage his 2/2. And hopefully that's all he plays next turn is Gideon, and we can kill the Gideon. If he drew another board wipe, then we just lose the game, but there's nothing we can do about that. We looked at his hand, we took the board wipe out. That's all we can do, right? If he plays Sora in here, that's pretty bad. Gideon's much easier to fight right now. Obnixilis, that's fine. I'm actually happy he played Gideon instead of Obnixilis. This is the most amount of Planeswalkers you'll ever have to fight, too. Because we're going to have to fight Nahiri, Chandra, Gideon, Obnixilis, all in a row. I'm kind of hoping we get a Reality Smasher, because that's sort of what this deck's trying to do, is Reality Smash people. That play Planeswalkers. Oh, Gideon's Reproach. Yeah, we knew that, but... I was talking. Normally I actually write this stuff down. I like write down their whole hand, but so now he pluses and plays Obnixilis and kills our guy and we lose. Yeah, we lost the game. Usually you're not going to have to go against a draw this absurd. Like, this isn't fair what he did, so we actually have no way to win. Not even that. We needed a Reflector Mage right off the top so we could kill this Gideon, but now he just gets to keep making tokens with this Gideon. He could plus even at this point, but... Yep, this is the Planeswalker deck, folks. Yep, we're just going to draw land. I'm going to attack Gideon with both these things, because now it's just, there's no choice. And then he -3s. Yeah, okay. That's it. Moving on. I would have loved to show you a win. Our draw was actually designed, well, I shouldn't say designed, but like the things I put in my deck, with the exception of Reality Smasher, like that Thought-Knot Seer, the Reflector Mage, those came into use in that game. But double Gideon's Reproach and drawing back-to-back land, that, or I guess it wasn't back-to-back, but certainly not drawing a way to remove his tokens, like a Declaration in Stone, was certainly the end of the game. We actually did have a lot of draws. We could have Reflector Maged and killed Gideon, Declaration in Stone and killed Gideon, Reality Smashered and killed Gideon, but we did not get any of those things. So it's another pretty reasonable hand. Hopefully we'll go against the Planeswalker Menace, and yeah. So we don't really have a thing to abuse Eldrazi Displacer with yet. There are a lot of things in the deck that do abuse it. So hopefully we'll draw one of them. Let's not show him any other colors yet. He may Spatial Contortion for all I know. There's not much we can do about that. I would guess Nissa's Pilgrimage is next.
This is usually ramp shell, and he'll find wastes so he can play Walker of the Wastes. Oh, okay, Matter Reshaper. I think it's worth spatial contortioning and hoping that he doesn't hit something. Because we want to stay aggressive and get in with Reality Smasher on curve. Well, actually, you know, I'm gonna just attack with this thing. Because he's gonna let this through, probably. Maybe not. Okay. So now we'll get to see if Spatial Contortion would have been correct. Because if he hits a land, it would have been. Okay. So we made an error. We could have got in for 4. Now I'm a little afraid of him playing, like, his own Thought-Knot Seer. Walker of the Wastes is also just a giant thing. I'm not sure I could actually beat that with this deck. Walker of the Wastes. I've seen this deck a bunch of times, and I do lose to it because this thing is just too big for whatever reason. Oh, that was a perfect draw. Eldrazi Displacer would be a nice play, but we can't do it. It's going to be a Reprisal. Hopefully he'll play something less threatening that we can spatial contort. You know, I actually will talk to myself while I'm playing, and I'll say stuff like I'm saying to you now, like, Walk of the Wastes would be terrible, and it's almost always Walker of the Wastes. Or if I say, it'd be really convenient for him to have an untapped swamp and a Languish, and he'll have like one swamp on board, and there it'll be a swamp, and I'll be like, man, if he has Languish, and there it is. And basically, what I'm doing when I do that is I'm always thinking of the worst possible thing they could play, and then just saying it. And for some reason, my opponent very, 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 very often has the worst possible thing. And by the worst possible thing, I mean the best possible thing. So here we get to flip this Kytheon, which is cute because we have haste. If he has Spatial Contortion, we don't, but we'll bank that he doesn't because he would have used it before. Gonna make my Reality Smasher indestructible. I don't think there's anything he could play in green colorless that could kill it anyway, but... Sylvan Advocate. I think we will be Eldrazi Displacering. I think that's just game. He's got something. He's got nothing. He's not conceding. Titan's Presence. He does have something. Endbringer. It's a good card. And we got rid of a worthless card. It's unfortunate for him that he had to use Titan's Presence on this Reality Smasher because Eldrazi Displacer is certainly the main issue, I would say. He has 2 pseudo-vigilance, guys. I might actually lose this game, funnily enough. Because he can attack for 4. Then he's got 3 blockers.
I only have 3 attackers. And he can block... Well... If I had another colorless source, like if I had somehow Evolving Wilds before this... Oh yeah, he gets to... Oh, God. Yeah, I have to let that happen. I guess that's the lesson there, is I should have +1 that Gideon, or +2 that Gideon. Is that good enough? Like, is that actually good enough? Oh, I can't get a colorless. Oh, God. I look like such a fucking noob. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and kill one of these things in trade. Oh, he was smart. Oh boy. Wow. It's pretty amazing how I only lost 6 games with this deck in 25 games, but you're going to watch 2 of them in a row after that. God. It's disgusting. Alright. If we top deck a colorless monosource, might be a decent boon here. Hopefully he gets all our colorless sources. He got none of them. Declaration in Stone was next though. That would have been amazing. So would Avacyn. That's not amazing. Okay. We have not officially lost. Oh, man. This is unbelievable. This is actually unbelievable that this game is lost. This is unbelievable. There's nothing I could draw to win. There's like absolutely 0 things. Because this untaps, makes one of our guys not able to... We need to be able to kill this... We have a way to win. I have to be able to kill Endbringer. Which the Oblivion Sower... Oh my god. Oh. That's a colorless source that no longer matters. So... If he responds to this, it's just over. Yep. Okay, yep, because he has 3 block. It's just unbelievable. We just can't win. Oh, wait, he had to use the... Okay, did we... No, we didn't win. Fuck! Fuck! Oh, okay, we lost. Try again. Fuck, man. Oh, God. I swear, every time I make a video. I went 19-6 with this deck. I made 2 videos with this deck. Both videos had 2 losses in them. Oh, my God. Could be 3 losses, because I'm doing a 4th game here.
Unbelievable. Plus the concession that I had. Just losing today. Oh my god. I just want to say right now that that green Eldrazi deck, I've certainly played against it before. And it's not good. It's not good. That guy had the perfect draw every step of the way. Oblivion Sower had to be the absolute worst thing he could have played there. Especially considering he exiled Avacyn and Declaration in Stone, which were our next two draws. Tell you what. This is a sign we're going against lowly Werewolves, which is really lame. Because Werewolves is also not a good deck. Somebody requested that I make a Werewolf deck, and I did fine with it, and showed the positives and negatives of playing that strategy. But it is definitely like a C or maybe even like a D plus tier deck. It's not good. I don't think I would trade Topan Freeblade with that thing. Well, especially not now. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, now I do trade. This is the trappings of me talking. This is what happens when I talk, is I just mindlessly, I just can't concentrate on everything at once. Maybe that's why my videos don't see many views, is because I make huge play mistakes while talking. Do you feel this incessant need to keep talking all the time? The only good news is we just have bombs in our hand. So he'll probably equip this and then attack and then pass. He won't attack, okay. So that makes sense actually, because now he has a big thing. If he plays Gyre Reach Bandit after this, that'd be pretty unfortunate. I'm actually going to plus here. Because we have blockers to protect Gideon, and then we'll probably ultimate after that. I'm going to attack because, like, if we have a combat trick, then he might be wary of it. Okay. He called our bluff. Now the only thing that we lose to is him killing this Eldrazi Displacer. Which he could. Could have Fiery Temper or something. Gyre Reach Bandit would be a little annoying, but not terribly. Once Eldrazi Displacer de-equips this thing, game's pretty much over. And actually, I don't play this guy or this equipment in my Werewolves deck. Actually, if he has a trample spell here, that's pretty terrible, because I'm certainly only going to block with this. I use trample stuff in my deck, a lot of it. Yep. I don't know. Oh, he's got the, you know, the Pack Guardian. Makes sense. I still would have attacked. Oh, he couldn't block. Well, he did it with bad timing. Just the fact that I have Eldrazi Displacer means I had protection from no matter what he did. So I certainly would have attacked with everything no matter what. That's a disappointing one. Usually I would end the video right here, but I'm just going to keep going. Because we got some weird losses in there. And by weird losses, I mean completely legitimate losses against amazing draws. Because we had amazing draws in those games for the most part in the beginning. I do think this deck is legitimately one of the best decks. I'm not saying there isn't room for improvement. There certainly could be something added to it. You could make it even faster and put more humans in it or something. I think that the main takeaway, and since I didn't say it in the video, but I said it in the deck tech, is that control, the numbers bear it out. Control is not that great right now unless it's Planeswalker tap out control. Meaning you got 4 to 6 board wipes and 4 to 8 Planeswalkers. That deck is a good deck, and it's one of the best decks, as you saw, because of what we had to deal with going against it. But my best record, even including those 4 and 5 color Planeswalker decks, even including those decks, I have a high winning percentage against control, because control on average is just not good enough, especially against aggro. And aggro is susceptible to control, which is funny but the thing is it's just better against more decks. Like, it's just better to have a versatile arsenal in an aggro deck against versus control just trying to answer everything. It's just way too hard to answer everything. This hand is not great because it's, once again, like, the mana is a little strange. So we're going to try and hit the... And we also want a 2-drop usually. But the thing is we have, like, Gideon. And that's making me play this hand. Because it wins by itself sometimes. Yeah. Yep. Gonna find a blue. And yeah, I know it's not correct to do that on my turn, but I don't like scrambling to pause at end step all the time. It's just Magic Duels, not the Pro Tour. Yep, should have waited. Should have played the white. Okay. Horribly Arise a thing that sees play sometimes. So this is probably another counterspell or a Bounding Crassus. This long pause makes me think Bounding Crassus. I know that it's what you have to do because of the timer, but I really, really, really hate... it is a different Flash guy. I really hate everything I play. Pause. I play set pause. Reality pause. Reflector pause. Getting pause. Lancer pause. Like, it's so annoying. It's so annoying having them pause. So if this guy's playing some kind of weird counter flash deck, then Reprisals, because I have that deck, and it's a good deck, Reprisal's not going to do anything. What I'm going to do is attack
and threaten to indestructible. Yep. If he has a disperse here, that's pretty shitty. I actually don't care. I would rather him disperse and tempo me out on this one turn than disperse something that matters. That's not the way I play this particular matchup. We're going to play this one out against the computer. I normally wouldn't, but I have to concede to leave, which I don't want to do. I don't know why that happens, where it didn't give me the option to leave. What the heck? Oh. Yeah, so dispersing there is not the way I play. I know he tempoed me badly there, but, like, who cares? Who cares, really? Doesn't mean anything. Just to tempo a 1 mana guy, like... Oh, God, the computer. So stupid. What the hell? He didn't even... Ah, the computer. Now this video is just turned into me bitching about this fucking game being so stupid. This Reflector Mage does basically nothing. Well, this will be the last game. It's unfortunate that I had to lose some games against just the most absurd draws, especially... Well, actually, they both were absurd. The 5-color Planeswalker had all his action cards in his hand. And the green Eldrazi deck just drew gas. That Oblivion Sower was just the dirtiest. Yep, protecting this Planeswalker has become a thing. Certainly going to Reality Smasher if I can. If not, I'll do it next turn. Yep. So this deck that my opponent is playing is not actually the deck that I play, because I don't play these Planeswalkers in mine. I will attack with everything. I don't care if this Kytheon dies. Just want to keep killing these Planeswalkers. Since he's at 20. Or it is at 20. Life is a lot of life against an aggro deck. But my suspicion is that my opponent's deck is bad, despite the fact that he's ranked 39. I do like the Flash Flyers deck. The Flash Flyers deck was the absolute best deck in the last rotation. It's gotten a lot worse now, but it's still good. It's actually not that much worse than what I'm playing right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. Yep. I'm gonna test his Bounding Krasis ability. Looks like a non-ability. Snorked. Sure. Spell Shrivel, unfortunately, is the best counterspell in this game. Exile is super relevant, and if you play it in an aggressive enough deck, which our opponent's actually not playing aggressive enough, you'll almost always hit something. This looks like a pretty clear, like, Lantern Scout Thalia's Lieutenant game. Counterspell. I just don't play that many counterspells. Counterspelling's fine, but it's not that fine. I'll 2-for-1 him if he wants to block this Hanweir Militia Captain. It's perfectly fine. I'm not sure I would even attack this Nissa anymore if he played a land.
May just play Gideon and Anthem and call it a game at this point. I wish my videos were better. You know, I try and make them good. I try and make them entertaining, but you know, the thing is I think it's funny to have like an arrogant tinge, and I think it's funny to like talk shit to nobody, and I think that's probably off-putting or something. So maybe I'm just not destined to do stuff on YouTube, but yep. Fucking guy, man. Fucking guy. Pointless Reflector Mage, still out of counterspell. Don't play that many counterspells, dudes. There's this format, this Magic Duels game, it's just, you don't want to have that many counterspells. It's not that good. You want counterspells to protect your board state, not to just stop me from playing any old random thing. Alright, so that's the video. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go do some editing because there were some delays in the middle there. But at least you got to see me lose some games against one of the best decks in the format and just a completely bullshit green draw. A game we probably should have... Actually, well, I don't want to say we probably should have won both, but I definitely think that we should have won the green game. You got to see me make a patented play mistake with that land. And, yeah. Keep it easy down under. Be sure and like, subscribe. Tell me I'm a righto guy. I don't even know if that's a thing. Down under. Being righto. Well, rightio to you, mate.